sports.
Okay.
Dan Ingham in the studio, baby. Check him out. I mean, Dan, by the way, this shot we got you on now, I mean,
Man, y'all cleaned it up. Looks nice and tight.
Looking like
Looks
a
good.
gazillion bucks,
Good
man.
background right there. Yeah, I had to put on the long sleeve shirt today, so.
First National Bank of Central Texas. You got me going, by the way, with my 3/4 zips now.
That's right.
I'm all about it.
I've worn them twice already this week. So
I bought one a couple weeks ago thinking of you.
you need it like Pete Sousa show branded, baby.
I think
Go full corporate, for Rogue Media, ride for the brand.
Yeah, don't tell those guys. There'll be a mandate now around here. All right, I want to start with talking to you a little bit about, first of all, some news hot off the press. I want to get your reaction.
Good.
Well, not good. Did you see Ben Herbstreit passed away, Kirk Herbstreit's dog?
I did see that, yes. Man, that's rough, man. Like, he was a staple of the college football season. So I know anyone who is a dog lover knows that's a kick in the teeth right there. So
it is a kick in the teeth. And I even went as far to say that I'm probably going to watch Thursday Night Football tonight to see if Kirk Herbstreit talks about it at all. I mean, like, he's become that much of a focal point, for me at least, and something that interests me.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to at some level if you're Amazon, just because that dog had become kind of a star.
Yeah.
So I think if it might be come across a little gratuitous if we didn't even know who this dog was.
Yeah.
But the truth is, I think if you're the producer, you've put it in the show rundown already.
Well, now if you're now let me ask you this question: who gets the awesome job of telling Al Michaels that at some point in the open we're going to talk about Kirk Herbstreit's dog?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's not much Al Michaels hadn't seen or handled in his life, so I imagine he's going to be okay with that.
Yeah,
and they might even find a moment. No, you handle it in pregame, don't you? You just get it out of the way.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
But Amazon is 0 for 1 acknowledging stuff pregame. I remember last year, and obviously it was her choice, but all that Carissa Thompson madness when she said she had made up a few sideline reports.
I forgot about that.
That was another thing I watched. That was right before, Dan, you're familiar with this, the night before Food for Family. So the last Friday in November before Thanksgiving. And I was like, I'm going to see what she says. She never addressed it, which, by the way, was a pretty good job by her. Kind of went away. It was good PR. Kind of like went away.
There was many meetings had on that, I guarantee you.
Did you ever run into that? Anybody in sports like that you work with that was covering a game where you felt like, I don't know that this is like altogether legit?
I can't. Oh, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Gosh, I hope not. Yeah.
I'm surprised it doesn't have. I think it does have more often, and we don't know about it. Like people like, if you're a young reporter out on the scene.
So I have no doubt that it's happened.
Yeah.
Especially as anxiety driven, a 23-year-old just out of college. Oh my gosh, Dan Ingham just told me I've got to get a package and 2 Vosots by the 6 o'clock. And I have to get 3 stories together.
Yeah.
I don't have a story idea. I'm sure it's happened. Yeah.
How much do you think local news still matters?
I think it does. I mean, so like you see in terms of nothing like the golden era of TV back in the 70s, 80s. But I mean, like you see these studies, especially when it comes to politics, like when you ask like people who they trust the most, it's still their local newscast.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, that's not always translating into tons of viewers and dollars. Now, good companies and good stations have figured out ways how to monetize their digital platforms. And I think both you and I worked for one that did a pretty good job of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't work there, but I can say that. I mean, they're still Gray Television is one of the more respected ownership groups in the nation, but it's challenging because just the ad dollars are not like they used to be. And just because the numbers of people watching the newscasts aren't the same, period.
Yeah.
I mean, like I don't watch a full newscast very often. I mean, it's hard to find.
No, it's got to be on almost by accident, or if it's a weather event, right? But I'm with you. But there's still a big drive. People still go there. That's where the political money goes. It's so interesting.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, like it's Julie Hayes. I mean, if there was a big moment in Waco, Texas, people are waiting to see what Julie Hayes has to say. Still,
100%.
And so she still has that built-in equity.
Or Brady Taylor.
100%.
Right? Like, so those are two people.
And I'm sure you've gotten this too, especially in my world where I coach my kids' little league teams and then I'm involved with Baylor softball. Hey, Dan, we text Brady real quick and see what the weather's going to be like. I've gotten that more times. And so I was like, hey, Brady, how's it going? And I always feel bad because like, I'll look down. The last text message was a month ago to Brady, and it was about weather also,
Yeah.
Like, he's always cool about it. But like,
he's awesome about it.
Hey, Glenn Moore wants to know, is it going to storm tonight?
That's who wants to know.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure. Yeah.
It happens, man.
finally, Mitch Thompson they just go back and forth now. Mitch is the guy, like he goes to Brady because they know each other from MCC.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
His wife. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about Baylor than the Cowboys. The celebration around that TCU win.
Yeah.
For you and seeing that the 2013 and 2014 teams coming back to get honored, what did you make of that? I mean, first of all, it just felt great. The whole thing I thought felt great. I thought if a couple things had gone the wrong way, it might not have been that awesome. But did you go to the game?
I was there for the tailgate up until the game. The bank had a big tailgate party, and then I share my season tickets with my brother-in-law, so he got the TCU game. So
okay, what was the vibe around the stadium pregame? I mean,
great, because the weather held off, and it was nice temperature. It was awesome. It felt like, because I was nervous, because we do one big tailgate a year. Like a month ago, I was like, man, are we about to have a 2-win team for a tailgate?
Yeah.
And the vibe was cool. It felt like a game day. It was cool.
That's crazy. So you were worried, right? Because it's like you're putting on you're hosting almost.
Yeah, I mean, put a little money in it. You want it to be good. So,
yeah. Well, that's cool that Baylor was able to meet the challenge and come through for you in two respects, before and after. What about the Art Briles situation? Like, they had something over at George's. Obviously, he was still celebrated throughout the week. Were you surprised to see the players and their allegiance to him, like, on the field? For somebody who hadn't been around it, I was a little surprised.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Probably because I've been around those players. I know some of them personally. They would do just about anything for Art Briles. They love him. So, I mean, just from an outsider, I thought it worked out perfectly. They had a great celebration at George's.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember Sammy Citrano. He's quite proud of that. He did a good job helping put that together. And people involved, I would tell you, loved it. They had a really good time. And then, to Art's credit, they said, hey, you guys go enjoy that game. And they did. And they honored him at halftime. All their families were there, a huge turnout. So I think everybody kind of came out a winner. I know that there's a lot of fresh wounds, and we don't have to relitigate everything. And I'm not smart enough to tell you all the details and who's right, who's wrong, but I do know I thought it worked pretty well on Saturday. And I'm sure there's some people that are mad that Art wasn't involved in the celebration, but at the end of the day, there were a lot of winners of that deal.
I totally agree. Took it right out of my mouth. Who was your favorite player from those two teams? If you have one that you loved to cover, or was just like came at you with pop as a sports guy?
Ahmad Dixon was kind of fun. He was a hoot. Is a hoot. He Midway guy, really intense defensive player, and just always a good soundbite. Sometimes sound bites that I think his coaches probably wish he wouldn't give, but as an old TV guy, you love that. So Ahmad Dixon was a lot of fun. Was it cool for you to kind of here's a guy from Friday Night Football at Midway, and then you probably had a relationship with him there, and now here he is. That's got to be awesome. I loved. I don't get that as much. I felt like this cool joy every time I'd see someone, on that we do on Sports Friday. It's always going to be Sports Friday to me. And we would see them do well, whether it was like guys, back in the day, not many of them went to Baylor, but then when Art came in, he got a lot of local guys that did well, but it was always fun to see guys do well. Ramonce Taylor back in the day from Belton, they went to UT. I mean, it's just fun to watch guys like that do so well.
You can relate with me on this. You and I called a high school game recently, like within the past 3-4 years, where Rashawn Sanford was starring for either Shoemaker or I forget exactly. Cam, do you know Rashawn Sanford, where he went to school from Houston? Okay, so he's a
clean ISD.
Clean ISD guy. So he went to Houston, but we have that Big 12 show we do. And if I can give this guy any love, I'm just like, oh, there's Rashawn Sanford. Everybody's like, what are you talking about? He had 4 carries. But there's a kind of connection you have with those folks.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Cowboys. Do you think the team has quit on Mike McCarthy?
I don't know about that. I'm just not sure they're that good.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw they put up no. So the short answer, no.
Okay.
I mean, I guess we'll find out more this week. I mean, what are they, 3-5? I mean, the season is not over.
Isn't that nuts? It's not.
I know, like in a 17-game season where you get 7 teams to make the playoffs, they're far from out of it. I looked up because I was curious, like how far, like, they have like the NFC standings. Like right now, they're 2 games out of a playoff spot.
Yeah.
And I know it's not the same as baseball because you play, but I mean, in like 3 weeks, they could be a playoff team. Again, I'm not saying that's going to happen because Dak Prescott's out, it sounds like at least a month. And Cooper Rush is not bad, by the way.
No.
And he's won games in this backup role before, but yeah, I wouldn't use the word quit. No.
This, by the way, this does set up for like an interesting situation. Like, God forbid, but let's say they steal one against the Eagles on Sunday, and then you got a little Cooper Rush momentum, who, by the way, was more than serviceable the last time he had to step up in like an elongated stretch. And I don't think by any means he's taken Dak's job. But
can I just answer your question? No.
Yeah.
The answer to your question is no.
Yeah.
If Dak Prescott is healthy, he will be the starting quarterback. They're paying him $260 million or whatever it is. He is going to be the starting quarterback.
Could you imagine?
No.
No.
Fun fact on Cooper Rush, he about a decade or so ago, he went into Stillwater, Oklahoma, and led Central Michigan to an upset win over Oklahoma State when OSU was still good.
Dude, it was a Hail Mary.
Back when OSU was good at football. So,
it was a Hail Mary. It was the last play of the game. I was there spotting for
Are you serious?
I was spotting for Justin Kutcher, who'd called the game on Fox. So I was there, and I couldn't believe it.
And I remember Mike Gundy after the game said that's an NFL quarterback. Not just because of that. He said that's an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
You can tell. Yeah. And he's had a nice, backup quarterback in the NFL is still a pretty good job. There are worse gigs to have.
Well, and it shows he's entrenched in very good standing, obviously, with the Cowboys organization. Exactly. He's been there for a while. As a fan, you got to feel pretty good. Okay, it's handing it to Cooper Rush. I think that I don't think the team has quit on the Cowboys or on Mike McCarthy at all. But you know what has occurred to me? This is an organization, and it happens. They just missed their window. They missed it. Last year was this little regime, whatever you want to call it, that was their window. Home field advantage. You kicked ass all season long, and then you lay an egg against Green Bay, and now you're talking about you can't get guys to go to practice. There's discipline. It's just it happens that fast.
And you had your window. There was about a 4 or 5 year period where Dallas had the best offensive line in football.
Yeah.
That's the best. And now those guys have aged out, retired, or hurt. And now that just seems like a blink of an eye. That's all gone too. Think about that. For consistently, the Cowboys had the best line in football. Everybody said it. And now, you got maybe a couple playoff wins out of it,
Watching Dak Prescott, do you think at all, like, what do you think he lacks?
I don't know. I'm not smart to tell you what he lacks. I just know that, like, there's the elite 2 or 3, 4 or 5 guys, and then there's 6 or 7 guys after 8 guys, and he's in that group right there. And I don't know what turns you from a Dak Prescott to a Patrick Mahomes. That's probably not even fair. Or who's else? Yeah. Or a Matthew Stafford. You know what I mean? I don't know what the difference in that is. I don't know, but I just know he's not. And so, and maybe you're not till you do it. Also, maybe that's what it is, because Eli Manning was not elite necessarily. He's good, but he won 2 Super Bowls when it mattered, So I don't know what that little thing is that changes right there.
I got to just check the temperature before we get to your picks. Like Oklahoma State, like what's
Coach
we shut it down?
Lutz is his name, I think. Are you talking about men's basketball?
I'm talking about men's basketball.
I'm
joking.
Football. Dude, I think that people are pretty upset. There were a lot of fans that are pretty upset with Gunn. Apparently, he made some pretty stupid remarks this week, which is, he's done before. About saying fans who criticize him or have no right to, or idiots or whatever, which is kind of silly. You're 3-6, coach. You're allowed to criticize them.
Yeah.
The truth is, unless they win their last 3, I think they're going to end there. It's about a 20-year bowl streak.
Yeah.
Right? So there was like the 2nd or 3rd longest streak in all of college football. So barring a miracle, that's over. So I don't know. I think he's earned enough equity. If they have one bad year, but you back it up another year, then you got problems, probably.
Yeah, no, he's for sure he's
got a lifetime contract, man.
All right, so give me your picks. Do you have we're taking it to the bank?
Taking it to the bank. Here we go. All right, we'll start with college football.
Paper,
Utah this year.
I love the paper.
Utah, they stink, right? They're 4-4. Take it to the bank. They're going to finally play well. They're going to beat BYU. Utah plus 3.5 points. BYU's magical run comes to an end. Or at least their undefeated run.
I love that pick, by the way. I do. I love that pick because Utah plays great defense. They have they're I think like top 10 in the country for points a game. They're giving up 16 points a game.
Yeah.
So you find a way to score a couple of times. I couldn't agree in a moment like this rivalry game. I'm with you on that one. And it's a shame the line isn't higher, so you could do a A money line. Go ahead.
That's right. I like it. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. You can really do
Yeah.
well. All right. New Orleans Saints fired their coach. They have a new coach. It's going to be the same results. Falcons -3.5 easily covers over the Saints. So I like the Falcons and Utah taking it to the bank.
Dan Ingham, First National Bank of Central Texas. They're opening up new locations everywhere.
Yeah,
if you're looking for a bank, you want to make some money.
That's right.
Yeah, or just take care of your money, right?
Either way, we'll handle either.
First National Bank of Central Texas. Thanks so much, Dan.
You got it, Pete.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.